Welcome everyone to TDL's April Member Forum. As I said, my name is Christy Park and I'm the Director of Texas Digital Library. I'm so glad that you all have joined us today. Okay. This is our agenda. We'll follow the usual agenda and we have a lot to cover. I'll begin with some director's updates, and then I'll be joined by our Deputy Director, Courtney Muma, to share some highlights on services and projects. Communications Manager Leah DeForest will give community updates, and some of our members will also share announcements in that section as well, and we should have time for open floor and open discussion at the end. I also want to thank our conference planner, Alex Suarez, for managing our slide deck today. Okay, so let's start with some director's updates. Next slide, please. First off, I want to encourage everyone to register for our final Leadership Academy webinar that is taking place on April 29th. If you've attended the first two panel discussions in this series, you know what special and insightful events they have been, and I expect no less from this final installment. So in this webinar, we will feature speakers from the Fort Worth Public Library, the University of North Texas, and Texas Tech Universities, and they'll be discussing strategies for leading teams remotely and dealing with some of the challenges that they worked to overcome during the rapid shift to remote last year. So Leah's going to drop a link into chat where you can learn more and register, and we hope to see you there on April 29th. Secondly, the TCDL Planning Committee has been working furiously on the program for this year's TCDL, and we're just about ready to announce that publicly. We have to iron out a few more details related to our poster presenters, but I wanted to give you all a sneak peek at the program as it stands so far. Leah's going to drop a link to a PDF in chat where you can take a look at the program draft. And while you're doing that, I'll give you a high-level overview, some of the highlights of the program for each day of the conference. So first off, on Monday, May 24th, we have 4 workshops and 2 Birds of a Feather meetings scheduled. Those workshops are going to focus on demonstrations of GIS tools, creating OER textbooks in Pressbooks. There will be an OJS tutorial and the newest iteration of the open source repository architecture, Fedora. On the second day of the conference, May 25th, that's going to be our big opening plenary session where we'll kick off the main part of the conference, and we'll use that opening session to celebrate our award winners for this year, and also hear from our keynote speaker, Dr. Suzanne Schottel of the Library of Congress. After that, the remaining sessions will be a mix of Birds of a Feather sessions, presentations, and lightning talks on both days 2 and 3. And then finally, on the final day of the conference, May 26th, we'll have more presentations, and I hope you can join us specifically, not just me, but the rest of TDL staff, for a special session that we're calling a TDL Services Rodeo, where we'll highlight some of our biggest challenges and accomplishments from the past year and do some forward looking at the next year as well. And Courtney has promised to wear a costume, a rodeo themed costume for that session. So please, attend to find out what that's all about. Leah's going to paste a link to learn more about TCDL, as well as a link to our registration page in Eventbrite so you can register. And I hope you'll share out our invitation with all your friends and colleagues. We want to see all of you there, and I'm really looking forward to our first fully virtual TCDL coming next month. I can't believe it's already time. I'm really excited about it. Okay, finally, before we move into service updates, I want to take a minute to ask for all of your help with something. So as you know, TDL always wants to grow because we think that we can do more and do better when we're working together with as many folks as possible. And we're always reaching out to institutions, both in and outside of Texas, to tell our story and recruit new members. So as with everything else we do, we think our members, our existing members, are our best asset. And so we're asking you for a little bit of help through a new initiative that we're calling a member testimonial project. Leah's going to paste a link in chat to a questionnaire that we've put together, where we are basically shamelessly asking you to tell us something nice about ourselves. So you'll see a few question prompts in that questionnaire, like tell us about how TDL has helped you grow professionally. And there are some other things as well. You can choose one of those prompts to answer or provide answers to all of them, totally up to you. Obviously, you don't have to answer it at all. And you'll also see some permission options telling us how we're allowed to use your testimonial. So obviously we are gathering these because we want to share them with potential members, but we will only share them in the way that you allow. So on the screen here, you can see an example of how a member testimonial might be used in a slide or graphic in our member recruitment materials. And we really look forward to hearing what you have to tell us and sharing it. We'll keep this questionnaire open until May 7th and hope to use your responses as part of a slideshow at TCDL 2021. So we'll look forward to that as well. If you have any questions about that before proceeding, let us know, and thank you in advance for helping us grow. Okay, so we'll move on now into services and projects updates. Next slide, please. Start with a few updates about digital repositories, OA journals, and OER support. So with digital repository hosting, I want to let everybody know that development of DSpace version 7 has reached a major milestone this week, or actually late last week. They released a final beta version of DSpace 7 prior to the big release of a production 7.0. And the international DSpace community is inviting any and all users of DSpace to participate in its ongoing testathon, where you can help developers find bugs to quash before that production release. So I invite everybody and encourage everybody that is interested in or uses DSpace to participate in that. Leah's going to put a link to information about that testathon in in chat. And we'll also be talking about it and maybe doing a little testing together in our DSpace user group meeting next week. Also, as part of that testathon, TDL has partnered with Lyrasis, DSpace's organizational home, to fund a full accessibility audit of the DSpace 7 beta to help ensure that the production release is fully compliant with web accessibility guidelines. So I'm really pleased that TDL, through the contributions of our members, is leading our community to, and not just our community here in Texas and Arizona, but worldwide, to a more accessible future through providing these funds to the DSpace community. Moving on to open access journals, the OJ, I wanted to remind everybody, and on that second bullet point, about a new resource specifically for journal managers. That's that faculty listserv for journal managers. We've created that email list for faculty, students, and staff who manage individual journals to discuss issues related to running a journal, stuff like policy development and staffing, applying for an ISSN, things like that. Technical issues and questions about OJS can still be sent to our help desk, but this is just another venue for people running a journal to help each other. I also wanted to let you know that the OJS user group will be represented by Alexa Height from A&M Corpus, Dr. Bruce Herbert from A&M, and myself at the upcoming Library Publishing Forum, where we'll be speaking on a consortium approach to library publishing. And that forum, if you aren't aware of it, is online this year. It's very affordable, and I encourage folks to register. And if you do, to attend our session on May 11th. Leah's going to post a link to that conference information in chat. Finally, last thing on this slide, I wanted to update you on some OER support work. So we had our final OEN Train the Trainer workshop. OEN is Open Education Network. That was completed this Monday. And we've held 3 workshops now with a total of approximately 80 attendees. I want to thank our OER ambassadors, Deanne Ivey, Taylor Fairweather Leach, Ashley Morrison, for their help coordinating and promoting those workshops. Leah's going to share some links to the workshop recording and resources from that workshop in chat. And we're really excited to reach this milestone in our relationship with the Open Education Network. I also wanted to let you all know about an opportunity to get more involved with the Open Education Network through an OEN allied membership for your institution. So this membership allows your library to join OEN as an institutional member at a highly discounted rate of $525 for the year. So it's available because you're part of TDL and TDL's consortial membership. And you can sign up, your institution can sign up as an allied member through May 15th. So if you're interested in this, get in touch with us, with Leah in particular, and we can answer any questions and get you in touch with the right people at the Open Education Network to get that set up. Okay, I think that's it for this slide. I'm going to hand it over to Courtney to take us through a few more updates with other services.
Thanks, Christy, and hello, folks. I'll start with updates on digital preservation services. First, if you are a TDL Digital Preservation Service member, get ready for what I'm calling Ingestapalooza. What this is that whichever member ingests the most content into any of their digital preservation storage, that's Chronopolis or either of the Amazon options, between May 1st and September 1st, will get 1 free terabyte of any storage type for 1 whole year. I'll send you some more information on this in an email very soon before the end of this week. And so please do join us for Ingestapalooza. Second, I want to congratulate Texas Women's University on opting into using the DSpace Replication Task Suite through TDL to preserve their ETDs that they have in their institutional repository in Chronopolis. TDL has already started setting it up, and we hope to get their ingest set up and running by June. Leah will share a link in chat to the digital preservation of DSpace using the replication task suite description in our wiki. Moving on to ETD management updates, I'd like you all, if you use Vireo or are interested in Vireo, save the date for the Vireo user group virtual annual meeting. We're doing it a little bit later this year because it's virtual, so we can. October 5th, 2021, we'll be hosting that from 11 to 2 virtually. It is free and registration is open. I also just wanted to remind our TDL members using Vireo that the migrations are continuing. Our developer, Frank Smutniak, is hard at work getting those just perfectly right so that we can get somebody live as soon as possible. I also shared a couple of links here that Leah will put in chat with information about some help documentation for that Vireo migration for those of you who are going through it right now, and whether you have or haven't been in contact with Frank. Finally, I've got some updates on research data management to share. Um, I need you, if you can, to please save the date if you're interested for TDL's Carpentries workshop that's going to be hosted by Texas A&M right after TCDL. It's going to be June 1st through 4th. We just got confirmation that they have the instructors that they need. So you're likely to see registration emails later today. We'll be opening it up later this afternoon. Registration will be capped at 25 attendees with TDL and TDR steering committee members prioritized, but there will be a wait list. So register or get on that list as soon as registration opens if you're interested in that workshop. Leah will post a link. Oh, it looks like we've opened up the registration already. So Leah will go ahead and post a link to that registration in the chat for you. That's it for me. I'm going to hand off to our guest, Erin Mazzi, to kick off on our community updates section of today's forum.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Yes.
So,
perfect. Next slide then, please. I'll go ahead and talk about our virtual lab tour coming up. So my name is Erin Mazzi, and I'm the digital media specialist at Texas State University. We are on April 30th at 1 p.m. beginning a virtual lab tour of the space at Texas State University. So I'm very excited to do this. This is a nice Friday sort of informal session where you'll get a chance to look at our still imaging facilities. And then I'll spend some time going over some demonstrations of things that we use that I think are kind of special and specific to us, and different techniques that we use for project management workflows and that kind of material. But I would like it to be a very open and sort of welcoming and again, casual space for people that are interested in talking a little bit about the digitization facilities that want to know more about our facilities in particular. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. There is a link in the spreadsheet or the slideshow here for you to use and go ahead and register for this event ahead of time. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share.
Thanks so much, Erin. And I pasted a link where people can learn more about that virtual lab tour. Thanks to our imaging group folks for getting that set up. And Erin, I think your email is in that blog post that we shared in chat. So hi, everyone. This is Leah DeForest. I'm the communications manager with Texas Digital Library. We have a couple of member-led events I wanted to share with you. You may have seen in your emails some promotions around this year's Cross Timbers Library Collaborative Conference, which will take place online on July 23rd, 2021. This is such a fun and cool conference hosted by our members at Texas Women's University. The call for proposals is still open, but the deadline is closing. It's this Friday, April 23rd. So I encourage everyone to check it out. Registration is free for CTLC. We also have another member-led event, STEM Librarians South. This is going to be held virtually also in July 29th and 30th, and it's hosted by our members at Texas State University. STEM Librarians South is accepting proposals through, I believe, May 28th, but Diana, you may need to correct me there if I got it wrong. But I'm going to paste some links into chat here in a second where you can learn more about CTLC and the STEM Librarians South. And then in the next slide, please, I'll grab this chat. So TDL is looking to gauge interest in forming a new member group around research integrity. And this group will be building on the success and fun of our brief research integrity workshop series that took place back in February. We have a survey for you to take, which will help us iron out some of the details and again, gauge interest in this group. And we'll paste a link into chat where you can access that survey, and we hope you'll take it by June 4th. Another event that we're excited about, we are also ironing out the details on this, but wanted to put a bug in your ear. Please save the date for a webinar that will focus on student engagement strategies in promoting open educational resources. TDL is really excited to get to partner with the Texas Library Association's Texas Council on Academic Libraries, our members at Texas A&M Galveston, UT Austin, and our good friends at Houston Community College. The webinar dates will either be May 11th or May 13th. And as soon as we get those dates ironed out, we're going to be sending out information, including a link to register, hopefully in the next week or so, because we know this is coming up and seats will fill up fast. Okay, just pasted links to those two pieces in chat, and I think we're ready for my last slide. So finally, just an FYI, the TDL Awards Committee has selected this year's winners. Notifications are going to be going out probably by the end of this week, maybe early next week. This year, we had the highest number of award nominations of all time. The people and projects nominated were just astonishing, and these awards really serve as an excellent reminder to me, at a minimum, of the transformative work being done by librarians and archivists all over Texas. So we at TDL just want to sincerely thank the folks who took the time to nominate these people and projects for this year's awards, as well as our committee members and Chair Lauren Goodley for helping us make the difficult decisions in many cases to select winners. And as Christy mentioned earlier, we hope you'll join us in celebrating this awesome work at our opening plenary session at TCDL. Speaking of TCDL, just want to plug one more reminder for you to please register. We have really flexible and affordable registration options for everyone, so please don't hesitate to join us. So even if your department doesn't have a budget for it, we have a pay what you can and free versions too. We just want everybody to join us. And so I'm going to paste another link to register in chat. And oops, I had the same thing on my, I'll get that right here in a second. But I do think that is it for me. And I'll hand things back to you, Christy.
Awesome. Thank you, Leah. And thanks, Courtney and Aaron, for being here today as well. We have some time for questions or other announcements. If anybody has anything they want to share while we have the community here. If you have a question or something you want to share, go ahead and put that in chat. I saw earlier that Bruce mentioned he had new lambs born last week. So that's a pretty big announcement coming from the Herbert farm. All right, if there are no questions or comments, we'll wrap it up for today and just conclude with a thank you to everyone. It's always good to be with our people here in the forum and in all the other ways that we meet together. Hope everybody has a great week and a great month ahead. We will be back same time next month for the May forum, where we'll be really talking about TCDL and getting excited about our conference next month. So we hope to see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.